Test. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's doubleheader for Franklin College Soccer. The women's game starting first against Mount St. Joseph. So we'll get underway here in a second after player introductions. If you didn't hear, for the Franklin Grizzlies, number 30 Grace Williams will be getting the start at goalkeeper today over Emma Watson. And now the Grizzlies march onto the field, getting ready for today's match. And going into today's matchup, the Franklin Grizzlies come into today at a 1-7-1 record, while the Mount St. Joseph Lions are 2-6-3 going into today's matchup. They're 0-3-1 in their last four, so a little bit of a cold streak as of late. And for the Grizzlies, they have not won since September 6th, so it's been a little over a month, or a little less than a month, sorry. 7 total goals scored all year for the Grizzlies, and their one win comes against Muskingum, 4-1. Like I said, back on the 6th. And now Mount St. Joseph, their last win, came against Marietta on the 20th of September. And the Lions, after a solid start, about 2-3-2, now looking to get back on track with their first win in a couple of weeks. Grizzlies will start with it at kickoff. Gets out back. Mount St. Joseph retains possession. Goes outside. Mount St. Joseph potentially looking for the corner. Passes it back inside. Back out, looking for the cross. Deflected out of play. And now Mount St. Joseph will get a corner opportunity here. Just 30 seconds in, the Lions getting a corner opportunity on the opposite side of the field. She kicks it in. Goalkeeper Williams saves it. No trouble there for Williams as she launches it to about midway down the pitch, as now Mount St. Joseph chases it down and kicks it out of play. It's going to be Grizzlies' possession. Throwing here for the Grizzlies goes right to Mount St. Joseph, as now ball gets passed in back into the infield. And taken away by the Grizzlies. And that was number 9, Madison Hill, with the takeaway. Madison Hill, one of the lead point statistic leaders on this team, 2 assists and a goal this season. As now Franklin will get it on the throw-in, but the ref stops the play. And Grizzlies get the free kick here. Be Elena Kellerman here, number 16 on the free kick. Mount St. Joseph gets ahead on it, but Grizzlies retain possession. Grizzlies going to the outside, potentially looking for a corner opportunity here. And ball goes out of play. Good defensive possession from the Lions. Grizzlies will get the throw in from near the corner hash here. And the ball goes out of play again, but this time Mount St. Joseph will get possession. Just a few minutes pass so far here in this first half. Mount St. Joseph keeps it short. As they look to slowly build their possession. Grizzlies intercept. Mount St. Joseph takes a deep shot, and they're going to get onto it, and they have a chance on goal here. Player goes down, and the ref's going to stop the play, and that might be a penalty, and a red card comes out. Wow, and that'll be looks to be number 16, Elena Kellerman, who got the red card, and she will be out of today's game. And that will actually leave the Grizzlies with 10 players on the field now for the rest of today's match. Excuse me, as now the refs figure out what they want Mount St. Joseph to do here. So now Mount St. Joseph has a free kick here, no penalty attempt. Weren't quite close enough, and so Grizzlies have a wall here in between the goal, but Mount St. Joseph has a really good opportunity here and good positioning. And they're going to go straight for the goal, and it goes right over the top of the crossbar, and Grizzlies will retain possession. And Williams will launch this one. It rolls near midfield as the Grizzlies get possession, but Mount St. Joseph recovers, and they will get the throw-in opportunity. And they're going to hurry it up here on the Grizzlies' half of the field. Now Grizzlies get ahead on it, and they will get possession. Grizzlies passing it around the back now, trying to move it forward here. Ball staying on the left side of the field. Both teams gaining possession. Mount St. Joseph passing it around back to the middle of the field. Or the pitch, excuse me. And 17 will get it. She's looking for the corner opportunity here. Grizzlies roll her out, and that'll be out of play. It looks like it'll be Grizzlies' possession. Good play from Madison Hill there. And Williams will get this one over to Amani Kincaid. Now she dribbles and passes it, and they will lose possession, but the refs are going to stop it and say that Mount St. Joseph, there was some physicality there, and Grizzlies will hold possession. Bixler-Becuer kicked it there, as now Grizzlies will retain possession. Hamilton has it. Hamilton loses possession. Mount St. Joseph retains. Ball stays in play. Bixler's chasing it down here. Not quite able to get to it, but gets to it at the very end and is going to clear it out. Madison Hill kicks it back inside to Kincaid. Loses possession. Mount St. Joseph now retains it. Kicks it back inside. Kicks it back to the out, looking for a potential corner opportunity, but ball gets kicked out behind the goal, and it's going to be Franklin Grizzly possession. A little bit of an error offensively from Mount St. Joseph there, as now the Grizzlies will get it back. Just about 6.5 minutes played here in this first half. Williams gets it over. Mount St. Joseph retains it after the clear out. Now it goes out of play, and Grizzlies will get the throw in. Tries to throw it in. Kincaid. Mount St. Joseph is right there, but Kincaid ends up with it. Good defensive play there, and now Mount St. Joseph passing it around. Grizzlies putting some defensive pressure up on them. That's number 11, Lauren Barker, back there chasing it down the ball. Mount St. Joseph, good possession here, but not able to retain it. And now Grizzlies get it. Mount St. Joseph going very tiki-taka, trying to bounce the ball between everybody, give everybody a chance in order to move the ball downfield. But now a throw-in's going to go to Mount St. Joseph. Some disapprovement from the crowd here. 8 minutes played in this first half. Now Mount St. Joseph gets possession on the throw-in, moving it around. They have a chance through on goal here, but a good defensive play from the Grizzlies. And now Barker has it. And Mount St. Joseph retains possession. Gets past the defender. Now a corner opportunity here for the Lions. And ball goes way over the top through the uprights, and it'll be Grizzly possession here from the goal. Williams launches this one, low arc. As now Grizzlies retain possession but lose it. And now Mount St. Joseph with a clear opportunity here for a goal. It gets past the goalkeeper and a goal for the Mount St. Joseph Lions. They will take the lead 1-0 to start as the Grizzlies huddle up and try to strategize on how they're going to respond. And that was number 17, maybe, for Mount St. Joseph. And that was actually Kendall Fox with the goal on that play, wearing number 17 today. And a big goal for the sophomore now for the Lions to take a lead, as we're still under 10 minutes played in this first half. But the Grizzlies will have possession. Kincaid starts with it. And Grizzlies passing around the back. Hamilton to Hill. Hill moving the ball. Dribbling up pitch. Had a little bit of room there, but Mount St. Joseph collapsed and retained possession. Ball rolls outside. Another through ball opportunity here. But ball goes out of play, and it'll be Grizzly possession here on the throw-in. Kincaid loses possession, as now Mount St. Joseph trying to move the ball around, as trying to get it out of this corner here after the throw-in. Grizzlies kick it out of play, and that will be Lions possession. And the Grizzlies nearly tip it out, and ball's still staying in the corner here, and it goes out of play again. It'll be Lions possession. Lions, that was their first goal scored since the game where they hosted Anderson on the 27th of September. They lost their last game again, their last match against Heidelberg, 3-0. So their first goal in a little over a week, as they now have possession again. Grizzlies get it. Bixler loses it, but they get it out to Hill. Hill fakes out her defender, dribbling back to the middle of the pitch. Kicks it deep for a through ball opportunity, and Grizzlies are not going to be able to get there. The goalkeeper clears it out, trying to get it to the middle of the field. Pridemore nearly had a chance on it, but Mount St. Joseph ends up with possession. They kick it on the through ball, looking for a corner opportunity. They get it there. Lions kick it inside. Easy work for the goalkeeper, Grace Williams.
Oh, I took the shot? She's at the top by the 50 right there. Oh, on the 30. Yeah, 11.
And the ball gets back to Grace Williams here.
I thought it was the girl on the
And she'll take a little bit of her time as she gets ready to kick this ball away. Well, there's a stoppage of play here. Grizzly players moving closer over to Williams. Not sure. Oh, she might not be allowed to kick it from the ground, the goalkeeper, so they had to get a Bixler to go down there and kick it. But now Mount St. Joseph will gain possession. That was 24, Alina Sharipa. It's Bevic, goes to the outside. And ball goes out of play here. Good defensive play from the Grizzlies. Actually, no, they said it stayed in, but now Grizzlies will gain possession on the throw-in. Or no, they say it's Mount St. Joseph possession, and they're trying to hurry down the pitch. They have a corner opportunity here. Gets it inside. Nutmegs her defender. Not quite able to get the opportunities. Gets deflected back outside, but gets inside. Williams is able to get it. Two Mount St. Joseph players inside the box there. Some danger from that the Grizzlies defense allowed, but they were able to get the stop.
8 or 9.
And now Williams will kick it away. Kincaid was trying to get to it, but it ended up with Bevic and in the back of Mount St. Joseph's defense. Ball goes out of play, and they're going to give it to Mount St. Joseph once again. And Sharipa's going to throw it in here for the Lions. And Pridemore tries to kick it away. Mount St. Joseph gets a head on it. Pridemore replies back. And they're just going back and forth on the headers. And now the Grizzlies will get possession back, though. Pridemore kicks it out. Mount St. Joseph retains possession. Defensive struggle here, but good effort from Barker, but Lions will get possession once again. Bevic kicks it back outside. Mount St. Joseph trying to move forward. Another through ball out to the corner. They get it inside. Going for the shot opportunity, but a little too shallow. And Williams makes it easy. Gets the stop. Just 30 minutes left to play in this first half. As now Williams clears it away. And Grizzlies end up with it. They try to kick it upfield, but it goes out of play, and now Mount St. Joseph will get possession. Grizzlies steal it away on the throw-in. They're out by the edge, but a throw-in here for the Grizzlies. About middle of the pitch. Now Mount St. Joseph will have possession. Ball remains in their defense as they kick it around the back. Running a little bit of time off the clock here, as now Lions will slowly start to move the ball forward. And Fox kicks it out, deflected. Hill gets a foot on it. Barker on the inside. And Barker retains possession. Grizzlies lose it. Fox kicks it back in field. And Layla Utzler gets it far for the Lions. Lions had a corner opportunity, kicks it back inside, but the Grizzlies end up with it, and now it looks like it'll be a corner here for the Lions. Another corner opportunity here for the Lions. Already a few in today's match. The Lions have possession. They kick it back out to the outside. She gets a head on it. Grizzlies are able to deflect it out, but now Williams will just get her hands on it, and they'll say it went out of play. She'll just be able to kick it here. And Bixler will run up to kick this one. Bixler Becuer. And now Mount St. Joseph ends up with it. They steal the possession away. They get their chance, but it goes out of play, but it will remain with the Lions. Good deflection from the Grizzlies defense there, but Lions are in good positioning. 27 minutes to play left in this half. Gets inside to Bevek. She kicks it out. Grizzlies try to clear it away. It's going to go out of play here. Mount St. Joseph will get the throw in. And we get a substitution.
Yeah, 11's off, 12's on. Those things are so hard. Yeah, not ideal.
You've got to be kidding me.
And another foul called here. Stoppage of play here from the referee, and Mount St. Joseph will get the free kick. So Mount St. Joseph had the substitution just a minute ago, and it was a free kick all the way inside, but Williams is able to get the save, and she'll make it easy for the Grizzlies defense here. She kicks this one away. It's going to get over to Madison Hill, who kicks it far but gives it right back to Mount St. Joseph. And we're nearly 20 minutes into this first half, almost halfway through. As now Mount St. Joseph pushes it forward. And they get the through ball out to the outside. Grizzlies are trying to trace it down, but Lions have an opportunity here. They kick it inside, and it's a goal! A beautiful inside pass. Sweaty goal, as you might call it. Kicks it inside past the goalkeeper, and Mount St. Joseph is able to get another
17.
goal here. And that was number 17 again. Kendall Fox having a day. 2 goals for the sophomore from Lawrenceburg, Indiana. And now Mount St. Joseph, a 2-0 lead. Less than halfway through this first half. And the Grizzlies will start with possession here on the kickoff. Now Mount St. Joseph has possession. And they're moving ahead. Nope, they try to kick it back outside with another through ball to the corner, but nobody's there this time. And now the Grizzlies will get possession. It'll be a goal kick. And it looks like Bixler is going to come back to kick this one as well. And yeah, 2 shots, 2 goals for Kendall Fox, giving the Lions all their offensive support today. And now Lions get possession here on the throw-in. Kick it back out to the thrower, and now they're passing it around the back a little bit here. And the ball goes behind the player as now Hill kicks it back inside to Pridemore, and the Grizzlies get it back to Hamilton. Gets up to Barker. And then Hill kicks it up to Kincaid, but Kincaid's not quite able to get to it, and it's going to go to the Lions. Barker nearly intercepts the pass. And now kicking around the back once again. Yeah, very possession-heavy soccer from the Lions here, and they get another through ball though. An opportunity here. They're going to kick it inside. Williams is able to get it. She got a hand on it, but there was a stoppage of play. It'll be, I think, a corner here for the Lions. And I believe this is the 3rd corner kick for the Lions so far this match. None for the Grizzlies. On the other side is now Lions. Ball goes back outside and they'll retain possession, but stoppage of play here from the referee. Some sort of physical play, but the stoppage of play gives the ball to the Grizzlies. That's now Bixler. Bakura will try to kick this one away. It's gonna be a short one. Upfield as the Grizzlies try to claw back from this 2-0 deficit. Kincaid has a battle with the defender, but it's gonna get back to the Lions. Possessive football here from the Lions. 23 minutes played in this first half. Ball goes out of play, and the Grizzlies will get the throw in. The throw-in goes in play to the Grizzlies, but Mount St. Joseph able to get a couple defenders on it and retain possession. Kicking it back inside to Bevick, who nearly loses it, but Lions pushing the ball upfield a little bit here. Working on her defender. She's able to get it past. Ball nearly gets cleared out. Back to the inside. Kick back to the near side of where we're at. Here in the press box at Fott Stadium. And now ball goes back to the outside for a corner opportunity on the through ball, but it's just a little too much, and the Grizzlies will get possession back. Here on the throw-in. Gets cleared out, but Mount St. Joseph gets ahead on it. Ball nearly gets tipped away, but Mount St. Joseph just able to have somebody there helping their teammate retain possession. Story of today's match, possession, possession, possession for the Mount St. Joseph Lions. Ball goes out of play though, and it will be a corner kick, I believe, here for Mount St. Joseph. That'll be their fourth one. And for Mount St. Joseph, number 10 comes onto the field, number 16 comes out as now Mount St. Joseph gets it back on the corner. Franklin trying to clear it out. Bixler gets a foot on it, but not able to get too far, and they just launch one at the goal here for Grace Williams, who's able to get it after it bounces off her chest, and the Grizzlies will get possession back here. Just 19 minutes left to play in this first half. This one's a high kick. Barely staying in play. Mount St. Joseph gets ahead on it, but Pridemore is able to fight with the defender on it, but now Mount St. Joseph has it on their own side. Moving the ball forward a little bit here, passing it around. And just a little bit too forward on the ball there, and now the Grizzlies nearly retained possession, but Mount St. Joseph continuing to reply with strong possessive passing. Trying to make a move on our defender. Good slide tackle there from the Grizzlies, and now I believe that was Lauren Barker. Now the Lions trying to get it to the outside. Grizzlies get a foot on it, but ball goes out of play. It'll be a throw in here. And they just try to throw it in short. Ref blows his whistle, and it's going to head. Possession will be given to Franklin. And a deep throw in here that goes right out of play, and Mount St. Joseph will get possession. And Mount St. Joseph on the outside trying to get in. They kick it in for a high pass inside. Nearly gets a head on it, but Grace Williams with some good goalkeeping to keep it out of the net. And the Grizzlies will likely retain possession here. Great awareness from the goalkeeper, Grace Williams, there. And if you missed the early part of the broadcast, Emma Watson, the usual starter at goalkeeper, not getting the start today. Grace Williams was the one getting the start, and who just made that save is now the Grizzlies back on the defense. Ball goes to the outside. And it looks like the Lions will lose possession. A throw-in happens here. Hamilton nearly able to get it. It gets to Hill. Hill back to the outside, and she's just going to pass it forward back to the Lions. And Mount St. Joseph will kick it around the back here. run a little bit of time on this first half, trying to hold their lead and potentially push for more. They're going to kick a through ball, but it's going to be way too much, and it'll be a goal kick here. And now Bixler Bacure will try and launch this one away. Barker gets a foot on it, kicks it to the outside. Grizzlies lose possession. Ball going around the back here for the Lions as they continue to work this possession style soccer. And a through ball here, an opportunity, but Grace Williams will get to it. She nearly loses it, but she's able to get her hands on it before Mount St. Joseph has a chance to attempt a shot, and it'll be Grizzlies' possession. And she kicks this one high. Pridemore trying to get over to it. Or that's actually, sorry, number 10, Amira Curry, the junior out of Corydon, Indiana. And now we'll get a stoppage of play here as Bevick went down for the Lions, and they'll retain possession. 14 minutes remaining in this first half. Just over 30 minutes played. As now a free kick for the Lions here at around midfield. And the narrative of today's match, early on, number 16, Elena Kellerman, gets the red card, gets ejected from the game for the Grizzlies, and now Mount St. Joseph since then has been able to play possession, heavy football, or soccer as some call it, and able to go out with a 2-0 lead early in this first half, and now they have possession once again here as they try to bounce it back inside. They get a head on it, but Grizzlies will get the possession. And some physical play by the defense there, as now Mount St. Joseph retains possession. Try to get it back inside to Elena Sharipa. And the kick goes right to the goalkeeper, and Williams will get that one easily and send this one away. Barker misses his now. Mount St. Joseph retains possession. And now Mount St. Joseph getting it back inside. Bevick gets it in the middle of the field. She kicks it back in. They have a little bit of space here. Bixler gets a foot on it, and they kick it away. And Myra Curry wasn't able to get a foot on it. Some physical play is now a corner attempt here. Ooh, just goes right over the goal. Nobody really in the box to get a head on it. Just a little too high, and now Williams will send this one away for the Grizzlies.
6 in. Yep. And 7 now. Yeah, 7 now. And 9 and 37 are out for us.
6 on, 7 off.
And number 7 from Mount St. Joseph, Layla Utzler, heads off the field. Anna Best comes onto the pitch just now. And for the Grizzlies, they had a few substitutions as well, which we're still getting as Grizzlies have possession here. Ball hits the referee, and we're going to get a stoppage of play. But the Grizzlies will hold possession. So Lauren Barker and Jetta Norris went out. Sydney Lovett and Anila Reese have come into the match. And Sydney Lovett actually scored her first goal of the year on the last match against Asbury, where the Grizzlies had a tough time out, losing 4-2. But with a couple goals, Sydney Lovett, her first goal of the season earlier this week. And Jetta Norris had a goal and the assist to Sydney Lovett last week as well. So
Down at halftime, that's when you find out from their coach who had the 2 assists.
Sydney Lovett now having an opportunity here to come in and play similar to last week and build off that performance. Is now Mount St. Joseph will get the throw in here. 10 minutes left to play in this first half. 24 for Mount St. Joseph throws it in. That's Elena Sharipa. They get it to the outside. Hamilton gets ahead on it, but Mount St. Joseph nearly gets it back, but Franklin's able to clear it back out to the opposite side of the pitch. But Mount St. Joseph hurrying back. Elizabeth Beery pushing the pace on that one. And now there's a corner play here. And the Grizzlies are able to kick it out, but a player slipped and fell down on the kick there. I believe that's Avery Hamilton. As now we'll get a corner kick here from Mount St. Joseph. And Franklin will get the throw in here. Hamilton gets it over to Barker, who kicks it away, but Mount St. Joseph will get possession. Mount St. Joseph just keeping everybody on their marks defensively and being able to retain possession quickly from the Grizzlies, being one of the keys to victory is now. Hamilton kicks it out of play again for the Grizzlies defense. And Bixler will kick this one away from the goal. And now Mount St. Joseph going for the corner opportunity here, but it's going to get kicked out off the player's chest. And it'll be a throw in here for the Lions near the corner. And Hamilton got defensive possession, but kicked it out of play, and now Mount St. Joseph will look for a corner here. And it gets inside, ref stops play, and they'll just give the Grizzlies possession here. And Mount St. Joseph nearly gets a head-on the goal kick. And the Grizzlies lose it. Caitlin Lampy kicks it in. It's another goal from Mount St. Joseph right before the end of the half. Nearly 40 minutes played in this first half, and Mount St. Joseph able to get another one off the corner kick. And a 3-0 lead for the Lions. So that was Caitlin Lampy, the sophomore, with the assist on the corner. And it was Bailey Dotson, the senior midfielder from Russellville, Ohio, with the goal. So Kendall Fox getting the first 2 goals for the Lions, and then Bailey Dotson getting the third one. With 6 minutes to play left in this first half, Mount St. Joseph not quite done this half yet, as the Grizzlies maybe also look to reply here. And they lose possession. Mount St. Joseph pushing the ball forward. Defender goes down. They have a lot of space here for the corner. Kicks it back inside. Another opportunity. And that's another goal for Mount St. Joseph. It might have been, it seemed to have may have been an own goal there from the Grizzlies. Bixler maybe trying to clear that one out. Ball gets tipped in, and Mount St. Joseph now 4-0 lead with still 5 minutes left to play in this first half. An obvious frustration radiating from the Grizzly players as 10 players on the field does not help against this Lions team that has just been so possessively dominant today, especially offensively, but defensively too, keeping their marks on all the Franklin players and not allowing really any space to work, as you can see right here. I mean, just trapped on the other side of the pitch. And now it'll be a throw in here for Franklin, but the ref's going to stop the play. And the throw in able to start here, and they're going to throw it in. It'll go to Mount St. Joseph. Grizzlies had possession, but now the ref will stop play once again. No one really knows what's going on. And they're going to give it to Mount St. Joseph possession. It looks like the ref was telling off. Seemed to have maybe been Lauren Barker there. Maybe some words exchanged there, and Mount St. Joseph now has possession. And they're just going to kick this one far to the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper's able to grab that one. Williams. Under 5 minutes left to play in this first half. Grizzlies trying to just keep this one, get it to the locker room. As now the Lions still pushing forward, trying to extend this lead. And they're going to get it to the outside once again. Presley Rugg, the outside woman for the second quarter of this half. And now Grizzlies will get possession here. It will be Bixler who will kick this one away. But we get a substitution here first from the Grizzlies. Lauren Barker comes off the field. Number 6, Courtney Samba, the sophomore from Zimbabwe, comes onto the field. And now the Grizzlies passing it around the back here. Ball goes out of play. Hamilton throws this one in to Samba. And now Grizzlies trying to move the ball forward here. They have a little bit of a chance. Ball gets kicked forward, but it's going to go to the Lions, who will now kick it around the back of their defense here. 3 minutes left to play in this first half. And clock continuing to run as the Lions just dominate the possession here. now Mount St. Joseph pushing it forward. A fantastic through ball over here to the corner. They have a chance. Not many people left in the box, though. They're going to take their time, but ball goes out of play. Good defense from the Grizzlies, but it's going to be a corner kick here. And another opportunity here for Mount St. Joseph. 14 shot attempts today, 4 of them obviously scoring. Only one of them coming off an assist. No shots attempt here from the Grizzlies today. And now ball goes over the goal, goes over the pile, but they have another chance. They're going to kick this one in, and it's going to go in once again. Another goal from the Mount St. Joseph Lions. Not even sure how that one got in there, and that's now 5-0 Lions. 2 minutes left to play in this first half. And it looked to be number 10. That was Presley Rugg, the freshman from Greendale, Indiana, who was able to get the goal there. Ball went over everybody on the opposite corner, and then ball gets to the other side, and Mount St. Joseph has more space. And now the Grizzlies will kick this one off. They're going to hope it's at possession. Samba trying to get something to work here for the Grizzlies. They pass it forward, but not able to get to it. Amira Curry. And now Grizzlies will get possession. Good defensive play right there. And now Samba gets a foot on it, but not able to find quite enough space. Is now a minute 30 left to play. Mount St. Joseph off the throw-in, deep into their own territory. Franklin maybe looking to put some defensive pressure. And at least get some sort of offensive silver lining before this half comes to an end. Franklin will pass it around the back a little bit here before they move the ball forward. Now nearly an opportunity, but it goes out of play here, and Mount St. Joseph will get the throw in. Some tough defense here from the Grizzlies moving forward. Ball goes out of play after a hard kick from the Lions, and another throw in here. Ball goes over the player. Another clear out, goes out of play. Just under 30 seconds left in this half as time winds down. And Bixler gets a foot on it, but it'll go out of play. Now Mount St. Joseph has a throw-in opportunity here. 10 seconds left in the half. We'll see if they go for it.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And looked like they went for one big corner kick, but that will be the end of the half. 5-0 for the Mount St. Joseph Lions, coming onto the road against the Grizzlies. Storyline of today's game, just a couple minutes into today's match. Number 16, Elena Kellerman for the Franklin Grizzlies, went out with a red card after a very physical defensive play when Mount St. Joseph was through on goal, which ultimately led to her leaving the game. 10 people being on the field for the Grizzlies, and the defense and someone off your defense being one of those people being gone has showed, as Mount St. Joseph has had easy access to Franklin's goal, and Franklin 0 shots gotten off in the first half. Mount St. Joseph with some really tough defense, finding their marks and keeping the Grizzlies at bay. And so that'll end my coverage of the first half. We still have about 14 minutes left of halftime, so we'll see you, hopefully, we'll see you in 14 minutes for the second half of of today's match. And reminder, there is a men's soccer game right after the women's game. We have a doubleheader today. Men's Franklin's team will play Mount St. Joseph's men's team as well. So we have 2 matches today. So do not leave us. We'll be back right after halftime. And welcome everybody back to today's second half of the Franklin Grizzlies taking on the Mount St. Joseph Lions. This is the first game of 2 today in our doubleheader. This is the women's game. The score is currently 5-0 Mount St. Joseph after early in the game, Elena Kellerman, the freshman midfielder and defender the freshman midfielder for Franklin, took on a red card after a physical play when Mount St. Joseph was through on goal just a couple minutes into the match, which left her ejected. So now Franklin has had 10 people on field all match, and Mount St. Joseph's defense has been on point, marking every single person on Franklin and running very strong, possessive dominance offensively, tiki-taka style soccer, and Mount St. Joseph looking to bring that back here in the second half. 5-0 lead for them. Obviously a lot for the Grizzlies to talk about. After the first half, they were huddled up over by the far corner of the fence rather than on the bench. Coach Jackson talking to her team then, but now here we are on the first half as Mount St. Joseph will keep it in play, and they're starting to march a little bit closer onto the opposite side of the field as now teams will switch sides. And Mount St. Joseph going to the outside looking for a corner opportunity here. She gets past her defender, loses her balance, loses the ball as well. Grizzlies will retain possession. And they move it to the outside, and here goes Jetta Norris. Jetta take on the side of the pitch. Ball gets kicked out, but Franklin will retain possession, and now the ball will go out of play after it went to Courtney Leap, the sophomore from Tipton, Indiana. Now Mount St. Joseph will have possession. Ball on the far side of the field now. Going back to the outside, another good through ball. And Mount St. Joseph looking to get through on goal, but a good clear out from the Grizzlies, but it'll be a throw in here from the side. Far side for the Lions. Keeping the ball on the edge of the play. Had a chance to throw on goal. It went through the uprights, but no good on the goal, as Grizzlies will retain possession. Get the goal kick here. And now Bixler Bacure will kick this one away. And that one will get over to Williams. And she kicks this one high, far ball, all the way onto the other side of the pitch, but Mount St. Joseph will retain possession. Ball stays in play. They kick it around the back a little bit. Maybe run some time off this second half clock where they hold the lead, looking to just get out of here with the win, as the Grizzlies have a large deficit to crawl back from. Jetta Norris chasing down the ball. Mount St. Joseph putting the pressure on offensively a little bit more here. Staying on the edge. Went for a through ball opportunity, but good defense from the Grizzlies. They clear it out. There'll be a throw in here for Mount St. Joseph. And they give it around the back, as now Mount St. Joseph will just retain their possession here and not do anything too risky. But they kick it upfield to number 21, Mary Onhofer. And she gets it around the defender. And they're going to say there may have been some physical play offensively, or the ball may have went out of play, as now Grizzlies will retain possession. The Grizzlies far in their defense. Mount St. Joseph putting some real high defensive pressure up, and now Grizzlies have some room on the other end of the field, but the ball will go out of play. Grizzlies get the throw in here. And Barker tried to get a foot on that one, but was not quite able to get to it. But Franklin will still retain possession here. They are on Mount St. Joseph's side of the field, so maybe a little bit of offensive pressure from the Grizzlies is what they're looking for. Ball, they do have possession, and now some physical play, and they're gonna stop play after some contact from Mount St. Joseph, and now Franklin has a free kick here. Mount St. Joseph brings up a wall, but decent positioning here for the Grizzlies to potentially at least attempt a shot. Let's see if they do that, or if they maybe want to try and kick it inside and try and get an opportunity to be through on goal or a header. A lot of opportunity from this position here. And on the free kick, she kicks it through. It goes through the wall, hits the feet, and it'll go out, and it'll be a corner kick here for the Grizzlies. And that was number 18, Izzy Pridemore, the sophomore out of Plainfield, Indiana, on the free kick there. And she'll also do this corner here for the Grizzlies. It might be their first corner of today's match, potentially. They get it in, goes past the crowd. And now the ball will likely roll out of bounds as Franklin's not quite able to get to it. And that will be Mount St. Joseph possession. It was a good effort from Sydney Lovett trying to get there, but not quite able to get the ball before it went out of play. Now Mount St. Joseph on the throw-in. Kicks it out of play, and Grizzlies will retain it. And on the throw, and they try to get it to Lovett, but they don't. But Grizzlies retain possession. Now Mount St. Joseph with a good tackle, getting the ball on the near side. Jetta Norris matched up with Mary Onhofer. Ball gets past Lovett. A lot more defensive pressure here from the Grizzlies. But the ball now goes on the far side of the defense. Nearly 10 minutes played in this second half. And the ball will go out of play here as Grizzlies kick it out. Mount St. Joseph at about the middle of the pitch. Get it to Chloe Young. Now to Anhofer. Anhofer double teamed, able to get it back. Out to Young. And now just passing it around the back. The Lions running a lot of time off the clock, as now Grizzlies will clear this one out. It'll go out of play once again, and Mount St. Joseph will throw this one in. Young gets it out to Bree, now going on to the far side of the field. And back out to the inside. Now to the outside, potentially a corner opportunity here for Mount St. Joseph. They stop it, they kick it in. Potential chance, good defense from the Grizzlies, and now Williams gets her hands on it and will be able to send this one away. She's trying to throw it deep. She has Madison Hill, or no, that's Jetta Norris, sorry, who's able to kick it inside now. And now a deep through ball, which is going to go right to the goalkeeper. Just way too much on that one from Lovett. And now Mount St. Joseph will retain possession. Franklin have been a little more commanding offensively and definitely more on track defensively this half, despite that play. But now Mount St. Joseph through on goal has the opportunity and kicks it into the back of the net, right to the outside of the keeper, bottom right corner of the net, and that is another goal for Mount St. Joseph, taking a 6-0 lead. And that is number 6, Anna Best, with the goal. Who will now take a seat. And a lot of substitutions here.
11 and 22 with 7, 23, 31, and 17 off.
So number 4, Rose Barnes. Number 11, Paige Callahan coming on the field. I think it's a group of 3 or 4 substitutions for Mount St. Joseph here, which we're still all getting. And a stoppage of play here from the referee, not exactly sure what's going on. And now he resumes play. Grizzlies will still hold possession. Just over 10 minutes played now in this second half. Grizzlies retain possession on the throw in there. Good spot from the referee. A little indecisive on the throw there from Leap, and now goes outside, but Leap gets possession, kicks it back inside. Good recovery is now Pridemore trying to figure out where to go with this. She kicks it around the back to Bixler. And they're going to kick to the far end. Might go out of play here, and it does. And now Mount St. Joseph will get possession on Franklin's half of the pitch. And Franklin stole the throw in. Had a little bit of momentum there, but loses the ball. Lovette trying to come from the back is not quite able to get there. And now Mount St. Joseph kicking inside. A little bit of an opportunity. Good defensive play from the Grizzlies. And now trying to hold possession. Barker kicks it out to about the midway point, and Mount St. Joseph retains possession. And this Grizzly team, the most goals that they have allowed all year so far, the most prior to today's match was 4, and 04 lost to Spalding in the middle of September. And the most they had scored was 4 against Muskingum, but nothing over that for the Grizzlies. But Mount St. Joseph 6-0 today, which is also way over their season high in goals as well. Only 2 is their season high on goals actually scored this year. A couple of those being a tie, and 2 of those being a win for Mount St. Joseph, but 6 goals tripling their season high today. A stellar offensive performance from the Lions so far, and the Grizzlies' defense, especially without a player on the field, makes it a lot harder, as now we'll get a stoppage of play here, and the Grizzlies will have possession. And Bixler will kick this one away from the far end of the pitch. And the lefty kicks this one all the way. Lovette trying to get to it before it goes out of play. It goes out of play, and it will be Mount St. Joseph ball. Nobody touched it there after the long kick from Bixler. Just over 30 minutes to play now in this second half. And reminder, we do have another game after this one. The men's soccer team takes on Mount St. Joseph men's soccer team. And now Mount St. Joseph an opportunity trying to get to the outside. Good defense from Leap, and it will now be a throw-in for Franklin College as Leap's able to take it away. And Franklin had some substitutions on the field before the throw-in, and now on the throw-in, the ball once again goes out of play, and now Mount St. Joseph with a really high upfield throw-in here. Some potential. They kick it back outside. Franklin gets a head on it. She goes up and takes a shot, and the ball will go way out of play. And that was Madison, or no, that was Addix Bicure, who went down after the hit but got right back up, and now Franklin will retain possession. And she's just going to toss this one short. They'll get it to Leap. Some high defensive pressure here from the Lions, and now she's just going to kick this one away. Lions retain possession, but Barker gets it back. Samba loses possession. Lions, a lot of space on the edge here. Looking for a corner opportunity. She kicks it right in, going for the goal. Williams gets a hand on it, not able to retain it. Franklin clears it out. Really high IQ play from the Franklin defense. I believe that might have been Lauren Barker who made the slide. And now more space again on the edge here for Mount St. Joseph. Going in from the corner where they have been all game. Good defense here from the Grizzlies. Ref waves this flag. It'll be Franklin possession. Good tough defense from the Grizzlies. And now they'll get it back. Just over 16 minutes now played in this second half. Less than 30 to go. Now Mount St. Joseph launches this one in on a cross. Williams dives out. Goalkeeper out of the net. Mount St. Joseph has an opportunity. Good recovery from the Franklin defense, and Mount St. Joseph not able to take advantage there. And it looks like it's going to be Franklin possession. Really good recovery from the Franklin defense there after Williams dove out near the corner of the box after a lot of movement from the offense of Mount St. Joseph, but Bixler getting in there playing almost the role of goalkeeper on that cross is now they'll just launch this one away, and Mount St. Joseph will retain it around midfield. And Samba's going to get a foot on it now. And the Grizzlies trying to move forward. They kick it up ahead to Jetta Norris, who comes in contact with the defender as Mount St. Joseph retains possession. Rose Barnes on the outside. Now gets it back to the midfield for Mackenzie Dotson. Now on the far side of the pitch here, where I'm not able to see the players' numbers. As now the Grizzlies, it'll go out of play here. And it looks like it'll be a corner here for the Lions. Another corner kick here. Where most of the attacks have been drawn from is now the Lions try to get ahead on it. It goes right over the top of the crossbar. And the Grizzlies will get it back. And now Williams launches this one away. Grizzlies are able to get some possession on it. Samba with it. She loses it, but gets it through the defender. And a high defensive pressure there from the Lions as now Grizzlies make a good tackle. Jetta Norris gets the ball passed to her as now she kicks it inside to Samba. Nearly loses it. A lot of physical contact going on, but the Grizzlies will get it back. Courtney Leap now moving on the side of the pitch as now she gets cut off and ball will go out of play. Good defensive play from Mount St. Joseph, number 23, Chloe Young. And now we're going to get 5 substitutions for Mount St. Joseph.
24, 8, 3, 16, 23 off.
So Elizabeth Beery coming off the field, as well as Lindsay Bevick. I believe Elena Sharipa was also coming off the field, as well as Chloe Young, number 23, who's about to do the throw-in. There were 5 total substitutions, so excuse me if I missed any, but those are the players coming off the field, as we'll get those players coming on the field in just a second, as now Mount St. Joseph kicking around the back, letting some of this clock run. And now Samba gets away with it. It's now she's going to move the ball up the field. Working on her defender. Gets inside. Kicks the ball upfield. Goes right into a Mount St. Joseph defender. And now they're looking to move it up. It gets back to the defense, but Franklin will just clear this out for a throw-in now. On the near side of the pitch for the Lions. So we'll get over to Kate Winierski, the freshman. Mostly backups in now for Mount St. Joseph as they let some of the underclassmen get a little more time here, as now Grizzlies will take possession. Lauren Barker moving the ball up the field. Ball on the outside pitch. A little bit of an opportunity here trying to chase it down, but good defense from Mount St. Joseph. Good deflection from Franklin. Ball deep in Mount St. Joseph's area, but the defense is able to keep it away. Not much of the offense trailing there with the Grizzlies. As now they move the ball forward. They try to get a deep through ball, and the Grizzlies will get it back. Gets it over to Barker in the middle. Barker moving deeper into midfield. Kicks it inside to Samba. Samba still holds possession, working on her defender. And now ball will go out of play, and that's actually going to be a throw-in for Mount St. Joseph. Ball deflected off of the Grizzlies. Some more offensive runs here in the second half from the Grizzlies, but still not quite able to get through on goal, as Mount St. Joseph playing a little more of a tactical slow approach to the second half as clock continues to tick off. Now halfway through the second half, and now Courtney Leap trying to get to the ball there, kicks it out of play, and it'll probably be a throw-in here. Good defensive play. This ball will get kicked away. Franklin will just have possession as now Mount St. Joseph retains it. On to the far end of the pitch. Ball will go out of play. Grizzlies will get the throw in. So Jetta Norris will head off the field, as well as another substitution or two for the Grizzlies. Ball gets to the outside now. Mount St. Joseph with a little bit of an advantage here. Gets it inside on Leap, but now defense retains possession. They kick it inside to Samba. Samba creating some space. Kicks it back inside on the pass. Nearly goes to the defense. Samba able to get back inside. Kicks it around the back to Hill. Hill kicks it outside. Franklin has a lot of space here. And they dribble it into midfield. Mount St. Joseph steals it away. And it gets back to the outside to Rose Barnes. And now Mount St. Joseph moving the ball upfield. And now they get a chance on a little bit of space here after an error from the Franklin defense. Trying to get through on goal is now Mount St. Joseph. Just dribbling it around, trying to build some time. They kick it inside. Good deflection from the defense. Grizzlies get the ball back. Tough defensive play. A lot of physicality there as Mount St. Joseph kicks it away, tries to get a shot off, but good recovery from the goalkeeper. And now Franklin will just kick this one away. Grace Williams launched that one away as now Samba has the ball in midfield. She kicks it outside, but it'll go out of play after Abby Bryant is not able to get to it. And now Mount St. Joseph dribbling around the back a little bit. Franklin gets a foot on it. Is now Mount St. Joseph again. Trying to wind the time down of the second half as this one already seems a little bit out of hand for the Grizzlies, especially with 10 people on the field. Really good dribbling there. That was number 11, Paige Callahan. But Franklin will retain possession. Just under 18 minutes left to play in this final half. And Anaya Reese, the freshman, trying to get some work in here now, as both squads seem to have their reserves in, or most of their reserves in. Is now Mount St. Joseph putting a little bit of offensive pressure. Player goes down and ref will stop play. It'll be Mount St. Joseph possession. Mount St. Joseph player is moving. Now a chance on goal here, but Williams dives on it and makes the play. She'll now launch this one away. A kick out pass to Mount St. Joseph's defense. Moving the ball into the midfield. It gets out to Rhodes Barnes, the senior out of Louisville, Kentucky. And Mount St. Joseph trying to continue to wind this time down and keep the ball away from the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies not putting too much defensive pressure on the ball, as they are pretty deep into their own territory, as now Mount St. Joseph starts to push offensively. A little bit of some room here, but it's going to go to the left of the keeper. And that will go out, and it'll be Franklin possession. It'll be a goal kick. And we got a couple substitutions coming in here now for the Grizzlies. So number 4, Rose Barnes, heads off for Mount St. Joseph. And I believe number 12 came on, Ricky Chase. And now Franklin gets possession back. Samba kicks it outside to the edge, but Mount St. Joseph will get their possession back. Now Samba's got possession. She's moving the ball up the field. Passes it out to midfield. Now gets to Lovett. Scored her first goal in the last match. She kicks it outside on a through ball to the corner, and just not able to get to it. We had a cross opportunity there from the Grizzlies to potentially get a shot before this match ends, but Mount St. Joseph will gain possession, and now they'll continue to look to run this clock, but they're going to throw it in, and Samba is going to get to it here. And they're going to get this on a through ball. So much space in between 11 and the keeper, but the keeper gets her hands on it pretty quickly and puts that one away, as now Franklin will retain possession. So number 11, Paige Callahan on the shot there. And the ball will get kicked away. Players looking a little lackadaisical on both sides. As now Paige Callahan does get some work in, though, as now she's going to work to the outside on our defenders. And the ball is going to go back to the defense. She's even going to kick it back to her goalkeeper. As now Mount St. Joseph looks to just continue to hold possession here. And they look to keep the scoreboard a reflection of their dominance in today's match, is now Mount St. Joseph with an opportunity to throw it in here. 12:20 and ticking in this second half. Throw this one in. Franklin tries to get on it, but Mount St. Joseph gets a foot. They're going to cross this one in on goal. Williams doesn't get her hands on it, but they're going to say that she ran to the keeper. Players were too far inside, and that's going to be Grizzlies' possession there. Can't take out the keeper. And now the freshman keeper, Grace Williams, will launch this one away. Now Levesque gets a foot on it. She's not able to hold possession, though, as now Mount St. Joseph holds possession once again. Kick it up, but Levesque gets a chance on it. Falls down as Franklin's defense pretty far back. especially with only 10 people.
About to check in for them.
Now we'll get a substitution in,
Gotta
potentially
get over it, so
from both teams.
it's 2 for us.
And we're starting to see some players file in now for the men's game. Reminder, just 10 minutes left in this one. We have a men's game right after this one in today's doubleheader of Franklin College versus Mount St. Joseph soccer. And we will have a second game ready for you on broadcast right after this one, as now just over 10 minutes remain to play in this one. 6-0 lead still for the Mount St. Joseph Lions. Levette kicks this one. It goes a little behind. Number 23, Addie Bryant, tried to back foot it, was not able to get there.
4 in.
And for Mount St. Joseph, number 11, Paige Callahan comes off. We get a substitution. Courtney Leap comes off the field for Franklin. And number 4, Shelby Renz, sophomore out of Speedway, comes onto the field. Not quite sure who came in from Mount St. Joseph there for Paige Callahan, but would have been one of their forwards. Is now Rose Barnes. It might have been Rose Barnes coming back in, as now she keeps it on the near end of the pitch, but it'll be a throw in here for Mount St. Joseph. And she's going to try and get it over to Rose, but Franklin gets ahead on it, and now Mount St. Joseph still retains possession. A chance here on goal, but Williams will get her hands on it before they get a chance, and now Williams will throw this one. She's going to try and get the Samba. And a through ball here from the defense, and it goes right out of bounds on the other side of the pitch for Mount St. Joseph. 80 minutes played in this second half, or in this entire match. Less than 10 to play in the second half. And now Samba kicks it around the back, and number 2, Kimmy Franklin, gets a foot on it, and now goes back to defense. Franklin kicks it out. Now Mount St. Joseph nearly gets a chance on it with some momentum, but they lose it as it goes out of play, and Franklin, or Mount St. Joseph, will have possession.
First game we had of
5 just came on for 19 for us.
5 on,
Yeah.
19 off.
I don't know if there's anyone else.
There was one more.
And Aaron Holtzman, number 5 for the Grizzlies, comes onto the field, or onto the pitch. Looks like Sydney Levette was the one who came off. Number 19, the forward, who scored her first goal of the season in the last match earlier this week.
5 and 17 on.
Mount St. Joseph with possession, pushing the ball up a little bit more to get it outside to number 20, Bailey Dotson, who scored one of the goals earlier for the Lions. And now the ball will go out of play. Zanaya Reese kicks it out. It will be Mount St. Joseph on the throw-in. And on the throw-in, Zanaya able to pick it off there, but not quite able to hold on to the possession. As now Rose Barnes will kick it backwards, and Mount St. Joseph will look to keep this Grizzlies team scoreless in today's match. As now the Grizzlies try to kick it forward. It's going to bounce off Mount St. Joseph, and now number 20, Bailey Dotson's got a little bit of opportunity. She kicks it inside, but Williams is able to get her hands on that one as well. This one gets kicked away, as it'll go all the way back to Mount St. Joseph's defense, and they'll just send this one back to the goalkeeper. Now Mount St. Joseph, they kick this one far ahead. Kind of just clear it out of their defense. Now Franklin has possession, a little bit of space here. Kicks it away. Samba, midfield, gets around her defender, has some space. Tries to make the pass. Ball gets deflected, but it goes back to her. Now Samba, once again, too much on the pass, on the through ball. And that was number 24, Money Kincaid, trying to get to it. Matches up with her defender, and now Mount St. Joseph will retain possession. It'll be a goal kick here. She sends this one out quickly, out short to her fullback.
Not enough time left in this game to make too much matter, but
And now just over 5 minutes left.
I don't know how good Mountain is, but hopefully not very.
In today's match, number 20 on the throw in there, and the Grizzlies. Now Mount St. Joseph goes down, and they're going to call for a stoppage of play here. And as the final few minutes tick away in this matchup, this loss today will set the Franklin Grizzlies at 1-8-1 on their overall record this season. 1-4 at home. And now they have an opportunity on goal here, but the Mount St. Joseph defense just collapses and gives Franklin no chance. I mean, you can really tell in today's match, if you've been watching, you really notice the 10 people on the field compared to 11 in this match. Sometimes you don't, but in this one, Mount St. Joseph has taken full advantage of their opportunity when it happened, and they jumped on it, and the scoreboard explains enough. Mount St. Joseph after this one, so they were 0-3-1 in their last 4. Haven't had a win since, I believe it was September 20th, so just a couple weeks ago. And the Lions will be able to get their first win since then and up their record of 3-6-3. That'll be their first win on the road this year. All of their wins this season have been at home, with their record at home being 2-3-2, which is actually the record they started with this season, was 2-3-2. Now moving to 3-6-3 after a 4-match winless streak. So a big win for the Mount St. Joseph Lions as they travel back down near Cincinnati. And now 2:30 left, some physical contact there on the last play, as now it'll be Mount St. Joseph on a free kick here. A lot of space between players and the goal. They may have a chance to kick this one in, as now Franklin does get to clear it out a little bit. Hill kicks it to the outside, and now Kincaid tries to get to it. And a lot of contact, but nothing called. Is now Mount St. Joseph tries to get a cross opportunity, but it'll go out of play. And now it'll be a goal kick here. Franklin unable to get their second win of the season today. Now Mount St. Joseph with an opportunity here. Slide tackle from the Grizzlies, and they're able to get to it and save another potential goal, but now Mount St. Joseph retains possession. We'll see if they go for it with just 1:20 left. A lot of frustration from this Franklin Grizzlies squad as now it's going to go up and high, but Williams will get her hands on it. And now just a minute left as the clock ticks. So the next match up for the Franklin Grizzlies women's soccer team will be against Rose Holman at 7 p.m. on the 8th of October, which will be this upcoming Wednesday. And now Franklin has an opportunity here, 45 seconds for a cross. They're going to cross this one in. It goes right to the goalkeeper, into her chest. She'll make it easy on her defense. 30 seconds remain, as now Mount St. Joseph will likely just pass this one around. She's going to launch this one up, though, on the goal kick. And Franklin will get a throw in. They're probably going to try and go for a last-second ditch effort for a goal here. 15 seconds remain, as now both men's teams have migrated to each corner of the field. And that will be the match. 6-0 for the Mount St. Joseph Lions. And like I said, the Grizzlies move now to 1-8-1 overall in the season. 1-4 at home. This is the Lions' first road win of the season, moving to 1-3-1 on the road, winning their first match in the last 4. They lost they're 0-3-1 in their last 4, and now get their first win. So now we move on to the men's game, which will take place here in a few after a little bit of a short break. So the Mount St. Joseph Lions will give you a little bit of a preview for that here. The Franklin College men's soccer team 1-8 overall in the season. This would only be their 4th home match of the year. They're 1-2 at home. And for Mount St. Joseph 2-6-2 this year, and they're 1-2 on the road. This would only be their 4th road match of the year. So we'll see who comes away with the victory in the men's game, but 6-0 in the women's game. Franklin plays with 10 people after an early red card, and Mount St. Joseph takes full advantage. So we'll be right back with you at the kickoff of the men's game. Stay with us.